I just got a message from Japan Analysis. He just DM'd me and said, hey, Atrioc, thanks for reacting to the new vid. Your fans always treat me well, and then gave me this face, which is very sweet. And Japan pilled.
Later.
Oh! Brand new 5 minutes ago? Japan Analysis video? 5 minutes? Japan, that's 467 views. Japan's most unhinged scammer loses it all.
お金をもらったのはいくらぐらいなの？
2年半ぐらいやってるんですけど、2億以上。
23でさ、2億円やばくない？
でも、全部残ってないんで。
なんで？
クラブに使うからね。
I spent it all at host clubs, so all you do is lie to get money. Are you just a scammer?
そうだよ。
Imagine you're 18, with no skills, no education, stuck in a dead-end job, and someone told you that you needed to make $1 million in a year. Where would you get the money from? For Watanabe Mai, the answer was...
Oh my God, let's pause. Let's pause so everyone in chat can have their pity moment. Too real. Don't need to imagine. Aware. YouTube video, try my life. Just like me for real. Anyway, he's gonna teach you. I can't have pre-watched it, can I? Because it just came out 5 minutes ago. Let's see how she makes it out of that. I'm sure it'll be something we can all do.
Obvious. From men, of course. Mai developed an incredibly effective method for scamming money out of lonely men and released it as a guide to help other women get rich too. Her tactics spread...
But then... Is it secretly her method to get money from broke women who want to use her guide method to get money from lonely men? Like, she's selling a course, so her target is not actually lonely men. That's what the course is about.
Lonely men and released it as a guide to help other women get rich too. Her tactics spread like wildfire on social media, but then the cops got wind of it.
The cops?
Mai's magic system is genius, and I'm gonna go through all of it, but it is unethical and illegal. That's why I've rebranded it to the Scammer System. Pay attention so you don't become a victim, and obviously, do not use it.
Okay.
All right, gang, listen up. The first thing you have to...
It's like making a YouTube video on how to like make a bomb with toilet cleaner and calling it the bad bomb system. It's bad. I called it bad. No one's gonna use it if I say it's bad, dude. Obviously, don't make meth. Here's my guide on how to make gross, yucky meth. It's like, okay.
Have to do is S, select your target. Not every guy is a good target, so if you don't choose the right ones, you're gonna waste a lot of time. Broke losers are out. You gotta find a guy who's good at making...
Imagine being too broke to get scammed. Holy shit, what a dub. It's almost a security. Unironically, so my car's got there's like a scratch, pretty ugly scratch on the side of my car. We've thought about getting it fixed, but also like I just feel safer parking anywhere. You know what I'm saying? I feel better. I feel like there's such a lower chance of my car getting the window smashed with this big scratch. So I like it. Like unironically, I like it, and it feels better in LA to have that fucking scratch, so I don't get rid of it. Stop with the F's, dude. There's no F's.
Money, but bad at holding on to it.
That's exactly right.
The perfect mark is a guy who's lonely, isolated, and has no hobbies. A guy who has no meaning in life.
Some of you are going to say me for both. You're going to say, oh, this is literally me, so I'm safe, about being too broke to be scammed. But then you're also going to say literally me for this, and you can't be both.
Who's not fulfilled. Ideally, he has nobody who relies on him and no interactions with women.
Jesus. The best guys to target have no hope in life. Is that what she said?
Women.
Jesus. Work, go home, sleep. Work, go home.
The reason Mai knows this is the best type of man to target is because she used to work in what the Japanese call the night industry, if you know what I'm saying. One evening, she desperately texted every guy on her contact list asking for money, and the only reply she got was from the loneliest, most unfulfilled guy she knew. When it comes to the kind of guy you should avoid, Mai recommends staying away from playboys and F-boys, the kind of guys who are self-centered and only interested in physical relationship.
You better watch out for the self-centered people in this situation.
As I mentioned earlier, you want a guy who's unfulfilled and lonely, so you should avoid guys who have a fulfilling life.
Sure. No hobbies, no travel.
And you got...
She could skip. This is like 2 minutes long. Just text everyone in your contact list. Do you play League of Legends? If they say, yeah, want to play with me, you found your winner. That's it. I save fucking 1 million hours, dude. Like, this is a whole complex system.
Gotta avoid guys who are full of themselves. Guys who flash money around may seem like ideal targets, but they're savvy and self-centered, making them difficult to manipulate.
I don't know if
Now
that
that
guy...
you've selected your target, it's time to C, cultivate trust.
信頼関係構築、知らない人とか、最近知り合った人とか、お金くれない人が
Okay, so this is like a
い
serious
ると
guide on how to fucking gaslight and be like an emotional predator and financial predator for lonely people. This is like a legitimate guide on how to like find lonely, sad people in their life and literally take their money. It's kind of fucked up. This guy, I mean...
思わないね、普通の人は。やばいやつから声かけられたってなるね。
If he doesn't trust you, why would he give you money? So you gotta make him trust you. The best way to do that is to make him feel like you're his girlfriend. That means texting him all the time, every day, when you wake up, throughout the day, before you go to
this
sleep.
becomes a
You need
job.
to make him feel like he's special to you.
おじくんと話してると落ち着くな。私男の人苦手なんだけど、おじくんと話せるんだ。俺って特別なんだって思わせるような。
思わせるって言ってんじゃん。やっぱ騙そうとしてるんだ。
This is work now. At some point, eventually you're just offering a service or somebody needs, they're lonely, needs somebody to text and you're answering on their beck and call for the text and then you get some money.
The next thing you gotta do is learn everything about him. Stuff like, what time does he wake up? What does he do on his days off? What was his childhood like? If you skip this step and try to extract money without making him fully trust you, he'll get suspicious and you will fail.
Okay.
Mai gives examples of her favorite messages to use on guys. Stuff like, messaging you first thing in the morning has become the highlight of my day, and it feels so nice to say goodnight to you. Okay, now that you've got him to trust you, it's time for the fun part, extracting cash.
I can imagine if I tried to text that to Ari, she would call the police. She would literally think I'm fucking kidnapped. It was like he's being held hostage and this... It would literally think it was like a secret signal.
To do this, we will start by A, arousing
Try it?
concern.
Which one? What was the last text message?
A, and it feels so nice to say goodnight to you.
All right. Let's see. It's 9 p.m. This doesn't make any sense. It feels so nice to say good night to you. Equal sign parentheses. This is terrible. Sent Riz out of control.
Okay, now that you've got him to trust you, it's time for the fun part, extracting cash.
In fucking 5 minutes, the SWAT team's gonna bust in. Who has Atrioc hostage? We got a call from his wife. He's being held at gunpoint in his office.
To do this, we will start by A, arousing concern.
Oh.
Basically, you need to make him think that you're in danger and that the solution is for him to give you some money. Mai refers to this part as casting a spell on him.
You're a complete sociopath.
Don't interrupt.
To start, abruptly stop texting him for 2, 3, or even 4 days. He'll get worried about you and probably spam you with messages. Don't open them. Hold out. Once he's ready, find a time when you think he's home and ready to have a conversation. Say something like,
I'm sorry I didn't message you, but I was too embarrassed to tell you what I've been dealing with. I'm being chased by debt collectors.
Don't elaborate. Make him ask for details and slowly trickle them out to him. Make sure you're
God.
ready with your story.
This is a
Prepare
very
all the
in-depth
specific details
con.
beforehand.
Example, I'm behind on rent.
He'll say, since when?
2 months ago.
Why haven't you paid?
The economy, medical bills, whatever.
What happens if you don't pay?
I could get evicted.
I do like saying the economy. The fucking economy, bro. God damn the economy. Interest rates, you know what I'm saying?
Or my parents might find out.
Someone is saying you had to be a woman to do this, but someone else said, isn't this what Slicker did? No, I'm not fully familiar with the situation, but isn't this like essentially what Slicker did? So I feel like it's open season, bro.
If you've done things correctly, you now have a trusting guy who's sympathetic to your financial troubles. Now, is it time to ask him for money?
No.
Actually, Mai never directly asks for money. Instead, the next step is to mention solutions that don't really solve the problem. These are things like,
I've been talking to someone who says he'll lend me the money, but he's connected to the Yakuza.
obviously, your guy doesn't want you to
Imagine the guy's like, sounds good. Dope. So you don't need my help? You are good then. That's awesome. I was worried I was going to have to step in, but if you got a Yakuza guy,
get money from the Yakuza. But he's probably not ready to pay yet. So his first instinct will be to come up with all kinds of solutions that get him off the hook. Things like, have you considered speaking to a lawyer? Or have you asked your parents for help? He's like a worm trying to wriggle away. Anticipate these questions and be ready with answers. Things that make him feel bad, like,
Lawyer, I told you about this because I trust you. I don't want to tell somebody else about this.
or
Go to my parents. They hate me. I ran away from home, remember?
at this point, if you've done everything right and he trusts you, he will offer to pay your debt.
I see.
Mai
Easy
has a
money.
rule where you have to refuse the first time, but eventually give in and accept his money. Success! But it's not over yet. The next part is crucial. You need to make him feel like a hero. Mai calls this part aftercare.
that reminds me. Just to be clear, I am fully supportive of a society where both parties pay half the bill on a date. Okay? But I did go on a date with a woman. I didn't read this. She clearly wanted me to pay, but also wanted to offer. Okay? It was like I offered, like the check came and I was like, oh, I got it. And then she goes, no, we'll split it, no problem. And then she expected me to be like, no, I insist. But I didn't. And then I said, no, this is before Ari. I could tell immediately on her face, she was instantly stunned that she had to do it. And then she like fumbled around in her bag for a while and she's like, oh, I don't have my card. I actually don't have anything. I was like, oh, I guess I'll pay then. But I remember this date well because I was like, oh, I feel like I misread that situation. But what's funny is like I already offered to pay. Like she wanted both. She wanted to do like, no, let's split. But then she also wanted to actually not split.
いただいた後はちゃんと盛大におじの限りで助かってありがとうっていうふうに伝えてあげるのがわけ。
And she stresses, seriously, look how many extra characters she added here for emphasis, that this aftercare is the most important step. You need to make him feel like a white knight who saved the princess. Say things like,
Thank you so much. You've given me a place to sleep tonight.
give him a breakdown of exactly how you spent the money. Hint at your bright romantic future together and tell him what horrible things might have happened if it wasn't for him.
If I hadn't met you, I might be dead right now.
Or,
You saved my life. Please don't ever leave me.
you need to make sure that he feels warm and fuzzy about giving you the
geez.
money.
Very
if you
manipulative.
skip this step, who
But
knows
also a lot of
what
work.
could happen. But if you did it correctly, this sets you up in perfect position to end or repeat. If Mai thinks the guy doesn't have any more cash left, or if she's put him in too much debt already, she'll try to let the conversation die out and move on to the next guy. But most of the time, if you wait a few weeks or months, you can loop back to the start and try to get money from him all over again. Mai says most of her targets pay her more than once.
生きてるおじさん。
ほうほうほう
LINE ってなっちゃって、おじがお休みとか送ってくるから。
今
後で電話してみる。あ、この人はもう2000万以上いただいてます。
$135,000? Wait, I thought they were talking about like a few thousand. I thought this whole scam was like a fucking incredible amount of work, but to get a few $1,000s from a lonely person. $135,000. That's fucking crazy. That's criminal, first of all. I mean, it's all that is like a coordinated life-ruining scam. Wow, that's fucking crazy.
この人はもう2000万以上いただいてま
That's
す。
crazy.
マジで
はい。
She even has a guy who buys her the new iPhone every year. In her 4-year career, it's likely that Mai scammed over $2 million from desperate men.
But also, I want to. There's an alternate angle that I want to explore here, which is that these men, again, assuming it's not, I don't know how much money they're making, but if it's something they can afford, this is literally just like a fair trade for them. You know what I'm saying? Like for a lonely person to have someone they can text all the time and have like a conversation with, and they buy an iPhone for that, like that, to them, that's almost like a fair trade. Like they would prefer the lie. Theoretically, maybe a streamer would never say that, paying money for a nice fantasy. Yeah, that's what it feels like. It's almost like people that buy a lottery ticket. They are getting scammed. but they like the idea, the hope. She says, I'm going debt. No, I mean, the $135,000 is what made me fucking thrown off on this a lot. Because $135,000 is like such a ridiculous amount of money to scam out of somebody. That person's clearly going
And she was proud of it too. Mai didn't hide her lifestyle at all.
So what happened to her?
She even brought $60K in cash to this interview. The interviewer is a massive Japanese YouTuber, and the reason it happened at all is because she's a fan of his and was spamming him for attention. He asked really good questions, and she ended up looking pretty bad.
2億円人からもらってるわけじゃないですか。
So we kind of exposed her?
それは収入としてちゃんとやってるの？
知
確定申告的なやつだよ。
らなかった。
お前脱税してるのそれ。まあいや、僕の今犯罪者なんだけど。犯罪者だよ、本当に。
じゃあこれ。
お前逮捕だよ、もう。お前逮捕。もうお前捕まえるからね。もう
That's so funny. It's really stupid on her part. If she's openly gonna scam people for years, then she's gonna go do a YouTube interview about it? Like, that's fucking... that's crazy. Robbing a bank and then going on TV and being like, here's my book. Here's my book on bank robbery. It's like you're trying to double dip here? You're trying to become a personality and a fucking private scammer?
嘘つきでしょ。で、しかも嘘つきを量産させてるよ。お前とんでもない嘘つきだよ。でもよくインタビュー出てくれたんだ、逆に。
Afterwards, she threatened to go to the cops if he released it, but he released it anyways. GigaChat. Why did Mai want to be in the public eye so badly? Perhaps she just wanted attention. But there was another reason. The guide we went through earlier, she was selling it for $300 a pop, and business was booming.
どれくらい今まで購入者がいたの？何人ぐらい？2000人以上。まあ、皆さん買わないでください。
2,000.
This was the beginning of the end for Mai. Remember when I mentioned that aftercare is the most important part? Another reason for this is because guys who feel scammed go to the cops. Unfortunately for Mai, some of her students must have skipped that chapter, specifically 19-year-old convenience store employee Ieda Miku, who, after buying Mai's guide, scammed around $100,000 out of two men by lying that she was going to be forced to appear in a certain kind of video if they didn't help her. After they paid her, she didn't do any aftercare. In fact, you could say she did negative aftercare. To both men, she sent a message, Miku has been kidnapped, and blocked them. And when two men bring such an absurd...
Phew! I figured out how to get out of this fucking web of lies. I'll just say I got kidnapped right after they sent me $100,000.
...story to the Nagoya police within 1 month, they start to connect the dots. They quickly tracked down and arrested Miku, found the guide on her phone, and then arrested Mai for aiding and abetting. This put Mai's face on the news, which made quite a few of her past victims realize they were scammed and go to the cops. Because guys were finally coming forward, they were able to arrest Mai 2 more times over the next couple months. One of the most interesting things they found after arresting her is that she never had any savings. She was essentially living paycheck to paycheck.
Jesus.
Well, other people's paycheck to paycheck. Every month, she was spending all of the money she received. On what, you might ask? Host clubs. A host club is a place where women pay for the company of charming men.
It's a vicious cycle.
Give them attention and entertain them with conversation and alcohol in a controlled social setting. Host clubs can be cheap if you go once in a while. The first visit is heavily discounted. But if you become a regular, they're really expensive.
Oh my God. That's equally
In Mai's
manipulative.
case, she was a bit more than a regular.
これはホストクラブに使います。
She fell in love with a host, specifically this guy, and spent so much money at the club, the staff started calling her Mother Teresa. The only reason Mai started scamming was host clubs. Before host clubs, Mai was just a normal student with a part-time job. Host clubs made her want money, which is why she got into night work. That still didn't make enough, so she started scamming her clients. In the end, host clubs were her downfall. Even when she was making hundreds of thousands of dollars a month, she was living in capsule hotels, so she had more money to spend at the host club.
That's insane.
On October 27th, Mai was in the news again, the 4th time in 2 months. But this time, it wasn't her being arrested, it was her host and his manager. They were arrested for knowingly receiving dirty money from Mai. But how can they prove the hosts knew the money was dirty? How about a text message found on Mai's phone from the host saying, "I am your accomplice now. I'll be arrested with you." Speaking of this host guy, everyone's talking about this fish-shaped kettle of his. Apparently, he bought it for like $25 on Amazon and served Mai soft drinks in it. For this luxurious service, he charged her around $100,000.
Holy shit.
On November 3rd, Mai appeared in court. Her appearance had
Holy
changed a lot,
shit.
and she was wearing glasses. She pled guilty to both aiding the scams with the guide and the scams that she did herself. The only new information we learned during the trial is that she has a husband who's Vietnamese. She hasn't been sentenced yet, and there's another trial coming in December.
よろしくあるとしたら、コメント欄はどんなにも考えるこの使うんだろう。
いや、わかんない。それはリリちゃん可愛いになってるかもしれないよ。
気にならない。
確かに。
You know, I've actually worked at a host club. I made a bonus video where I tell that story and talk a bit about the channel and why the videos take so long. It's free on my Patreon. You don't have to sign up. Link in the description. Check it out. Also,
Amazing channel. Check it out if you haven't. Japan Analysis. And they gave us permission to react, which is very pog. Very, very, very pog. Good YouTuber, good videos. That's insane. Loneliness is a hell of a drug, bro. Ooh, they're at 199K subs. Wait, let's get them to 200K right now. Sub. Japan Analysis. 200K. Link. Is it at 200K? Refresh. Pog champ! Let's go! Easily clapped. Easy money. That always feels good too as a YouTuber when you see that spike. Did Ari respond? No response. Scene. Left on red on that one.